Hey, Blue. Hey, Chris. You want to come with us? We're going to form a park. What do you mean? It's a park, Blue. It's full of dinosaurs from the Jurassic period. But I'm from the Cretaceous, and I had feathers. I was also more like a chicken. What's all that about? I think you're focusing on the wrong part, Blue. And I'm speaking English. It's going to be on an island, and our success will be dependent on how dangerous the animals are. I don't think that makes economic sense, Chris. People like pandas and penguins more than crocodiles. I think you're overthinking this, Blue. You want to come to my dinosaur island or not? Oh, I think it's a good idea. Who are you? I'm Gandalf. Someone ran out of Lego.
Honey, what are you doing?
I'm supposed to refrain from using footage from Jurassic Park in my review for Dinosaur Island, so I figured I'd use your Lego.
Oh. Okay.
Honey? I love dinosaurs. Ever since Fred Rogers played with them, I've been fascinated. As a child, I owned books, Transformers, more Transformers. You end up getting favorites. I had two, the Ankylosaurus and the Brontosaurus, the latter of which would eventually be excommunicated as not being a real dinosaur. But fiddlesticks to those guys. The Bronto came back. It's a real dinosaur again. That love never went away. So when Tom Basso exclaimed how awesome a game inspired by Jurassic Park was, I had to have that in my life. Opinionated? Biased? Yes. I was going to love this game. It had dinosaurs. Oh, a lot of you viewers seem to have issues whenever I go off topic, so I'm going to be talking about dinosaurs for like 3 minutes, so you can skip ahead if you want. Outside of television and film, there were few portrayals of dinosaurs I could find. It was only 4 years ago when my recently acquired girlfriend, a statement I should reward because honestly it's not like she's a legendary card in a booster pack of Magic the Gathering, set out to visit a place I had only fantasized of in my youth. This is the Royal Tyrrell Museum, and I'll just come out and say it. It's for children. It sells itself to children and is designed to entertain children. However, when I crossed the threshold and entered the museum, I stopped being a 40-year-old man and became a child. It happens to everyone. It doesn't matter if you're a parent or a bachelor, elderly or just able to purchase alcohol, you become a child when you enter the Royal Tyrrell Museum. Everything became taller. I started laughing at everyone's misfortune, and dinosaurs became awesome. Well, dinosaurs are always awesome, and if you can't admit that giant monsters, literally the stuff of legend, roaming this planet millions of years before man, was cool, then you are an uncultured Philistine. They populate our childhood obsessions, triggering youthful fascinations with science. As adults, writers are instructed to include them as solutions to narrative lags and pacing. We fight them or play as them in video games, and they often dominate our box office despite being portrayed inaccurately. So, excuse my inner toddler taking the steering wheel within the Royal Tyrrell. I became a child, dinosaurs are awesome, and if you don't agree, then you're a big stupid head. It would then appear a foregone conclusion that I would be excited over Dinosaur Island, so much so that I backed everything. This is the Extreme Edition of the core box, the Extreme Edition of the Totally Liquid expansion, and the Extreme Edition of the standalone Duelosaur Island, and I hope you're all comfortable because I'm covering everything. Before that, some disclaimers. Firstly, I am not messing with the color settings in my video. The game is presented in neon retro colors retro neon colors that don't outstay their welcome. Secondly, since I don't own the base version, you may notice me flaunting exclusives not found in retail. Except for this. This is not part of the game. This is my personal dinosaur. I call him Bob, but he spells it backwards. Thirdly, I had mentioned previously that I love this game, spoiling whatever climax one may expect, but I will offer criticisms on any shortcomings I may find because no game is perfect. Like this game's footprint. There's an awful lot of game, so much so that the game can't be closed. We've tried. It is also heavy. I thought Skyway Robbery was portly for its size. Dinosaur Island on its own breaks the scale. It's probably due to the £1.50 of metal coins the game comes with. Upon looking at the mess of components, it would be understandable to be confused. There's a lot to unpack. There are custom DNA dice, specialist cards, objective cards, plot twist cards, paddock tiles, attraction tiles, dino recipe tiles separated by herbivore, small carnivore, and large carnivore, lab boards, park boards, and 3 communal boards detailing research, marketplace, and points. There is also a lot of dinosaurs. With more of them and more variety with the Extreme Edition. To the extreme! Each player receives 1 lab board and matching park board. There are 2 different types of meeples each player starts with, scientists and workers, 3 and 9 respectively. Well, typically the scientists are just tokens. The beaker meeples are an extreme upgrade. To the extreme! Yeah, that's not getting old. Thankfully, most of these only get rationed out as needed during setup. Except for the dinosaurs, which you will of course lay out organized by type, even if it takes up a quarter of the table, because dinosaurs are awesome, and I have OCD. No doubt the game's footprint is substantial, so much so that this table cannot accommodate more than 2 players. Lay out the research board and the marketplace next to it. Leave room to the right as you will set lab upgrade and attraction tiles as well as specialist cards. These are placed randomly, though the attraction tiles are set in increasing prices from top to bottom. Place the track board with each player placing cubes on 1 excitement and 10 victory points. Lay down 2 random plot twists that alter the basic rules of the game. That's right. The game includes provisions for various homebrew alterations. Select endgame objectives. There are 3 types for short, medium, and long games, though I will admit, having played all 3, I see little point taking so much time setting up to settle with a short game. Everyone will be upset how quickly the game will end, so my recommendation is to forget the short game objectives and stick with the others. Reveal 1 card for each player plus 1. Place the dino recipes and reveal the top tiles for each. At random, draw 2 DNA dice per player, plus 1. Place the paddock tiles nearby, the same with the currency. Oh no, not cardboard. I got metal coins for the Extreme Edition. To the extreme! The first player gains 15 coins, the second 16, and so on. The game's suggestion for the first player is somewhat odd, but once selected, gain this dull first player marker. Or you could employ this one, included in the extreme... Stop it. Just stop it. As you can imagine, someone with ADHD will continually fiddle with this. Ha!
Ow!
Sorry. Players start with 4 of their workers, place another on the turn tracker. The others sit in limbo until acquired in-game. Dump all yellow patrons into the bag and set aside. Depending on the variant, you may also place these annoying hooligans. There are 6 types of DNA, and... What? I never said this game was scientifically accurate. 3 common and 3 rare. Set the maximum values to 4 for basic and 2 for advanced. Set the acquired DNA samples to 0 for advanced, 1 each for basic. Because creating dinosaurs in this game is apparently 1 degree removed from making jambalaya. Speaking of DNA, man, they're just not trying to conceal their influence. Set your security and excitement to 1 each. On your park board, place 1 appropriate dinosaur, your starting dino, baby steps. All of these components work, and the game functions. That is, despite the fact that it is not one singular game. It's more like 3 mini-games meshed together and fed through Brundle's telepod. And like that cautionary horror, what emerged could have been a confusing abomination which, on the surface, deserves a face full of buckshot than being allowed to live. But here, it actually works. To properly learn the game, one should just focus on each of the phases, as there is little carryover between them. Phase 1 uses that research board. The first player rolls the dice and places them across this row. The scientist meeples numbered 1 through 3 are employed here, with each player placing 1 at a time. Gain DNA, gain a dino recipe, or increase the maximum DNA values, these black cubes. The numbers on the meeples represent multipliers for the dice, as well as the highest level a recipe one can acquire. You could also elect to hold a scientist and reserve it for Phase 3 later. When you acquire DNA, increase these colored sliders up, but not above their maximum. When you increase maximum values, increase any black cubes in any combination. Claiming a recipe tile places it on your park board. On to Phase 2, the marketplace. Each player alternates taking up to 2 actions, claiming and paying for any item. Unlike Phase 1, where used meeples block that option from other players, here Tiles are not replenished, limiting options for later players. This is where viewers may notice a pattern with both phases 1 and 2. Neither layout is altered based on player count, with the one notable exception being the number of DNA dice selected and rolled. With only 2 players, the odds of a player gaining something another player wishes or blocking another player's action is slim to none. But at 4 players, this increases significantly, and there is nothing within the game to mitigate this. A higher player count game is more aggravating, while a 2-player game barely involves any player interaction at all. Of course, given my fiancé's and I's dislike for aggressive gameplay, we've no problem with this. If you gain a specialist, place it on the side of your lab board to 3 maximum. If one shows a worker meeple, gain a meeple. Acquire an attraction, pay for it, adding both its cost to the cost of the row for the total necessary. Place said attraction in your park. Claim an upgrade tile, place it in an empty slot unless the claimed tile is an upgrade to 2 of the tiles already given on the board. DNA and Dinosaur creation. You can also elect to buy any of the listed rewards for the indicated cost, removing 1 tile from that row if so. You can also elect to do nothing and take 2 credits each time you pass. Phase 3, the worker phase, the best phase. Employing the honor system, each player simultaneously distributes workers across his or her board. There is no way to conflict with other players and allows the activation of any of the tiles on your lab board, just as long as you have workers to place. Make and place dinosaurs, collect money, convert common DNA to rare DNA, increase security. 1 meeple can be placed on 1 slot, a ×2 requires 2 meeples to activate. When creating dinosaurs, reduce the matching DNA. If you don't have room, you can also upgrade your paddock to accommodate more dinosaurs for any of your attractions. Increasing security is vital given a dinosaur's predilection to break from its bonds and wreak havoc. Because that's what dinosaurs do? Just like every zoo in the world, tigers and polar bears are all waiting for an opportunity for security to lower its guard. Each dinosaur in your park generates victory points at the end of the game, as well as excitement and threat. Excitement increases on your communal board, the threat on your own board. Additionally, the unclaimed DNA dice are set aside. The one with the most pips is placed in the threat slot, adding a temporary threat modifier for all players. Phase 4, the park phase, involves drawing random patrons from the bag equal to your excitement level, gaining 1 coin for each patron pulled. Hooligans don't generate income and are placed in your park before patrons. These meeples are placed across your available seats. If you can't place them all, additional meeples are lost. Afterward, compare your security with the current threat level, losing 1 meeple for each level of threat over security. Finally, secure victory points based on the remaining patron meeples in your park. As stated 64 words prior, hooligans are placed first and generate neither money nor victory points. Admittedly, pulling patrons from a bag feels like an almost unnecessary random variable in a game so rich in potential strategy, though I will admit that no game I've played has ever ended with a point range small enough to indicate the hooligans as the source of someone's loss. Finally, Phase 5. Clear out the patrons, reset the turn order, placing the player with the lowest points at the top of the next turn, return workers and scientists, refresh the market, sliding attractions, upgrades, and specialists upward before replenishing, and the game continues. If an objective is met, that player places a token upon it. If no other players can claim that same objective that turn, it is locked out from other players. Which is another rule I have an issue with, especially if a player is only 1 round behind another. The leading player is already probably winning if they are claiming objectives 2 rounds before anyone else. It feels mean to lock that objective from other players. When only 1 objective is left, the game concludes. Final points are rewarded for dinosaurs, attractions, and remaining money, with the latter awarded on a 5-to-1 ratio. And that's the game. Critics have accused Dinosaur Island as being too simple, too complicated, too long, and these accusations may have some merit, but it doesn't alter the enjoyment one has placing dinosaurs, expanding one's park, so much so that despite the long game being, well, long, I still become disappointed when it ends. Which brings us to the Totally Liquid expansion, Extreme Edition. And wait. Okay. Anyway, the Total Liquid... To the extreme! Totally Liquid adds a 5th player, more specialist cards, more plot twists, more DNA dice, and more dino recipes. With the 5th player and only the 5th player, you add this additional row, expanding the market accordingly. That edition adds a lot, replacing all the cardboard tokens with plastic meeples, adds a new marketplace, with an additional upgrade tile, a new research board, and 96 more plastic dinos, including blue marine dinosaurs. And sorry, I have to do this. There we go. However, the real value lies with the game's expansion modules, with games able to incorporate any combination of. Or rather, most games will play with two and almost always disregard the others. The first module we'll discuss is PR events, private victory conditions each player possesses, but one which, when revealed, apply to everyone. The second module, Blueprints, dispenses 3 blueprint cards to each player, who each then selects one to keep. This is a pre-designed park layout one must try to match, getting additional victory points based on how close a player comes to matching his or her blueprint. These 2 modules are less than stellar. The game already suffers from point salad. I'd never think of adding more variations to that, and the game is long and large enough at 4 players, I wouldn't dare to fathom playing with 5. This leaves the remaining modules, which are excellent. Marine creatures, that's right. Additional aquatic paddocks are added, and the Phase 1 board expands, significantly increasing options in larger player count games. If running larger games, don't play this game without this module. Marine dinosaurs list scientific requirements based on their complexity. The best part are the blue dino meeples, which greatly add in personalizing one's park. And finally, the best module, park facilities and executives. These offer radical rule changes for each player, customizing each park in ways even the base game couldn't imagine. Randomly select facilities and executive cards, one for each player, lay them out, and then in reverse player order, select one, continuing until each player has gained 1 facility and 1 executive. Alas, this extreme stop it was shipped with a few problems. The hooligan meeples match the color of the super patrons in the base game, and the executive meeple images are all the same on the cards, meaning matching them with the specific executive meeple must be done online. Each executive is extremely powerful, with specific additional rules making them better than any single worker or scientist in the game. One counts as 2 workers, another a scientist and a worker, and so on. Then there are the facilities themselves, each completely unique. The casino allows other players to gain additional DNA through DNA dice or bet on the number of hooligans one will drop from the bag. The player that owns the casino gains either money or victory points each time the casino is used by another player. The Dino Incubator allows a dino to be cheaper, although it takes between 1 and 3 rounds to gestate, but you do get to place egg meeples, so that's cool. The Archipelago enables a player to gain 2 additional executives, with said player selecting 1 at the beginning of each turn. Fantasy Island allows the placement of 1 additional dino recipe. When you create a dino with this recipe, you also gain 1 fantasy attraction of your choice, which you place on your park along with your dinosaur. The Goat Pen gives you goats, which can be removed to mitigate deficiencies in security. The Reptile Resort is a hotel where you can place surplus meeples from prior turns in storage for later turns when your capacity is higher than your excitement. You can upgrade its capacity by paying to remove black cubes. The Petting Zoo allows you to make these cute baby dinosaurs. I'm sure there are points to be awarded, but look at them. They're adorable. And yes, these meeples are exclusive to that edition. And finally, Parks and Recs, which offers one player the capability of creating the monstrous Mega Rex, which is entirely not an Indominus Rex. This complicated and expensive facility generates massive excitement and threat, as well as final victory points, but it also requires considerable advanced DNA to create, as well as money in the form of upgraded seat tokens. The Mega Rex also generates additional threat based on a rolled, unused DNA die. Without a doubt, the all-encompassing Dinosaur Island is a massive game and one I always look forward to playing. As stated, I won't play without the Totally Liquid expansion and will always incorporate the facilities and executives modules as well as the Marine Dinosaur module, regardless of player count. Making a dinosaur park has never been this fun. Not that I have anything else to compare it with. Oh, you say there's already a Jurassic Park board game? Yeah, not particularly interested in that one. This is that one situation where an expansion is adored and appreciated, and one where I didn't think I needed it until I had it. Adding more game made a better game, as it accomplished something I love: personalization. There is so much one can do to differentiate one's park. By the end, each player feels they accomplished something. Fail or win, there's character in each tableau. I know, I'm losing your interest. I should be nitpicking or exasperating a minor quibble into a huge crisis. I guess then the only way to make this game better would be to, strip out all that personalization and make the game faster?
That's dumb.
Yes, you'd be correct in that. This is Duelosaur Island, the most unnecessary standalone game one could acquire. Don't get the wrong idea, it's a good game, certainly, as it follows much of the design philosophy of its big brother. But its existence comes into question. Why play this when you can play the main game? You may think it's faster, and that is somewhat true, but not by a considerable margin. It has a smaller footprint, also true, but not so much as to make the game portable. It is a two-player game exclusively, and comparing it to a two-player Dinosaur Island, with or without Totally Liquid, Duelosaur is faster, but not by much. In fact, most of the time saved is with setup and not actual gameplay. But let's dive into this box. There are only 2 corporate boards, no parks. The excitement and score trackers look similar, and instead of a research and market board, now there is just one all-encompassing board. There's a bunch of familiar DNA dice, specialist cards, and a massive deck of attraction/dinosaur cards. To put it simply, Duelosaur Island compresses phases 2 through 4 from the original game and squeezes them into the phase 1 research phase. There aren't many exclusives for this edition. 2 extra dice, a few additional specialist cards, and a plastic PR token that was supposed to have an identifier on it, but doesn't. Each player gains a company board and 3 starting cards. There are no DNA maximums. Set your DNA values all to 0. Threat and security are once again set at 1. Par cards have a dinosaur in the upper half and attraction on the lower half. Select one to be a dinosaur, another as an attraction. Place the PR token on the shaded spot. Each player places a cube on Excitement 1 and Visitors 5, the latter equating points for the game. Duelosaur also features plot twist tokens. Select 4 at random and place them across this row. The game begins with income, with each player gaining 3 coins along with 1 for each food icon present on attractions and 2 for each of these symbols met on the Excitement track. Then each player draws 1 park card along with 1 additional card for each attraction with a merch symbol he or she owns. Then comes the draft. The game's best new mechanic employs tossing the DNA dice in a bag and drawing out 5 at random. The first player then draws 3 specialist cards. He or she then rolls the dice, places them in whatever order he or she wishes above the plot twist tokens, with the 5th gaining no additional reward. Then discards 1 specialist card, placing the other 2 on the board. Starting with the second player, claim either 1 specialist or 1 die, gaining additional bonuses based on the plot twist under that die, if any. This continues until there is only either 1 specialist card or 1 die remaining, which is set aside, like in Dinosaur Island, to increase the temporary threat level. Only in this game can an unclaimed specialist card affect temporary threat. We then jump to the build phase. No workers, each player spends as much DNA and as much money as he or she has to place cards from one's hand to either build dinosaurs or erect attractions. If you build an attraction with the right symbol, you immediately gain the benefit under the PR token. Like in the bigger game, dinosaurs generate threat, which one can mitigate by increasing security. At the conclusion of a round, you compare the total threat versus your security, gaining visitors, subtracting any if threat is over your security, all without drawing patrons from a bag. Finally, the lowest player on the scoreboard can select any PR bonus to the left of the indicator, with the next player electing any option left of that. Advance the PR token one to the right, and the next round begins. The game ends when points pass a threshold of 25, 35, or 45, and once again, I'd never played to just 25. Admittedly, Duelosaur is a much simpler game, but was there a demand for that? Given the 2 options, I doubt I would ever want to play Duelosaur Island. It's not bad, a solid 7 out of 10. But with Dinosaur Island earning a 9.5 from me, why would I downgrade? As stated, it's a faster game to set up, but not a hugely quicker game to play. Dinosaur Island satisfies a greater itch with the same theme. Dinosaur Island has more variety, is more satisfying, and is one of the few games in my entire collection I continuously look forward to playing. And yeah, it's better. And not marginally better, but better like Mad Max Fury Road being better than Transformers 4, like Texas Barbecue being better than a rotten skunk found in the septic tank of a slaughterhouse. I'm talking substantially better. Graphic design is fun, and although I could have done without the 90s retro neon color aesthetic, it by no means is a criticism that makes the game worse. This is a massive game, and for the first time in a long time, I truthfully feel privileged and lucky to have backed the complete package from Pandasaurus. Now, if only they made a box to fit it all in. Seriously, we had to remove the replaced parts from the Extreme Edition. To the extreme! We removed the replaced parts and spread all the components across the 2 main boxes to accommodate everything. And these coins are astounding. So yeah, not much of a climax there. You all knew where this was going. A great game, one of the best. Dinosaurs are fantastic. As is this game. This is Chris from Deus Ex Machina. You flinched. You flinched. That's going on the blooper reel.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com.